Alrighty, and welcome back. We have the Chevy Titan back on the bench. Actually, it's always been on the bench, but I'm just saying that this is the current build again. And here's where we're at. I'm just going to kind of get the basis for where we're at again. But so the chassis, of course, is here, and I've got the whole front part here. The chassis is all glued together. What am I saying? The frame is glued together. And these front pieces are all glued onto the frame. But this whole structure here, as much as it's glued together, it's not glued onto the frame. And the reason I did that is because it's just so busy, I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to spray through and get paint on everything. So I think I'm going to spray that separately and then glue it back on, the whole thing with the two differentials and everything. And so on. Over here, of course, you know the engine is done if you look back on the updates, and I hope that I'll have it linked somewhere. You'll see the build on the engine. The only thing that is missing is right here on the front. It goes right here. Where am I? Right there. That is for alternator. I think that's what that was. But it is nowhere in the kit. It's nowhere on the instructions. It's nowhere on the parts tree. It is not included in the kit. So I'm going to have to come up with a little piece of some kind of plastic to put on there and paint up. But the engine came out fantastically good. Very happy with that. That part's ready to go. We've got a million little tiny pieces. I've never built a big rig, so with terrible instructions, I'm currently working on trying to figure out how they go on. A lot of these were chrome. The ones that are kind of yellow were chrome. Little brake cylinders and brackets and so on. I'll figure it all out just with some internet photos, and we'll get them all on there. Most of them, and most everything's all the same color, so I'll get a lot of it on there before I paint it, and some of it afterwards. Obviously the cylinders themselves are like silver. And then the wheels and tires, I've got a couple of mock-ups working here. None of this is glued together. I think this is the way they are supposed to be. Kind of, you put the spider in that rim and glue it in, otherwise they're separate. And I'm going to be doing this, oh yeah, onto the body. There it is, the cab. And it is just a big old cube. And real good detail on it. And looking at the box, I am actually liking the blue. I think I would like to do it in blue. I am not going to put that air, what is it called up there? Air something. It says right there. Drag foiler, air deflector. Yeah. No, I want this to be a cube. So I'm not going to put that on there, so you have to imagine it like right there. That's what it's going to look like. But I like the blue, so I went looking. I knew I had this can. This can, it's a sealed can, never been opened. This is the Sapphire Blue Metal Flake. Now, believe it or not, this can, I was thinking back, I was doing the math on it. This can of paint is probably 20 years old. I mean, 20 years old. No, I've got a lot of these too. I've got a bunch of cans in there that I bought many years, 2 decades ago, that are still sealed. I hope it sprays. If it sprays, it's a beautiful color. I sprayed it on a couple of models, and it's going to make this truck look really good. And so that is my plans. And I plan to paint the wheels the same color. You get it. Anyway, a lot of painting, a lot of assembling to do before the next scene. So I hope it all goes well. Alright, here we go. Okay, and so here we go. Now it's painted. And I'm happy with the way it came out. It was a good idea separating that piece because there really would have been no way to get paint down into there. But I don't know, I think it's about 3 or 4 coats, and the paint that I used is the Ace Satin Black, and it just seems right for the frame there. You see there, good close-up. It is the same paint all the way through. Some places it came out kind of glossy, I guess when I went on too thick. In other places it looks satin. And I'm good with that. On the other side, let's flip this. Got the brake cylinders on there. And I painted those the way you get that color. That is a mixture of gold and silver. And that's a little trick I picked up from Tamiya instruction sheet on some exhaust parts. It said mix gold and silver. And same thing on the front. Little brake cylinders on there. And so the chassis is pretty much ready to put the engine in, and that last little drivetrain, which I have lost. There it is, back there. So engine, drivetrain, put it all on there, and then you can get the wheels on. So what's going on with the wheels? Well, they have been painted as well, as I had explained. Now that can of sapphire blue turned out to be still good. It's still sprayed perfectly, and the paint still looks great. So very happy with that. And so here is a look at, so these are the front wheels here. And there's a look at what the front wheel is going to look like with the beauty ring in there. And I painted the back of them because they're going to be showing through the wheel back. So the backs of these are painted, but not these here, because those aren't the backs. But at the same time, I also painted in between, because in between the two tires, I noticed it's going to be showing. So I painted the whole wheel to the point where in between, you'll be able to see. And speaking of which, there's one mocked up right now. Oh yeah, and here's an example of what I'm saying. So another, oh no, I'll never be able to do it. Rough idea. So you get it. In between the tires, you're going to have that piece showing there. And I wish I had the other tire. There we go. So there we go. See what I mean? And so, I don't know. I'm done with that. Anyway, also the cab is painted. And it came out great. About to drop that can. And here's a look at that. Not bad for a 20-year-old can of paint. I think it would have been totally fine at 30 years. What I like about the metal flake and the testers is that the flakes in there are to scale. It's not like buying a can of Rust-Oleum where the flakes are gigantic and your build ends up looking like a bass boat. They are to scale. They're very, very fine. And so, anyway, success on the body color. So the goal on this update is going to be to get the rolling chassis rolling. The goal is going to be to get all the wheels together and on the chassis, the engine in and the drivetrain, and so that this whole thing is on wheels. And that will be the end of this update, which should be the next scene. And then after that, there's just a million other parts to go. But that's where we're at, so see you in the next scene. Okay, so I'm guessing that a lot of you truck modelers have noticed, as much as this looks kind of neat, it's missing its center caps. I didn't know what I was doing. This is my first semi. I don't know what it was supposed to look like in the middle, and well, gosh, that looks kind of neat. Until I was rummaging around on the table and I found these things. These are overexposed. Yep. Okay. Wow. There's really no way to film those. There we go. See there? Center caps. So, they're not supposed to look like this. And I'm hoping that I can just kind of paint these chrome and just glue these right onto the centers without doing anything. I hope. Anyway, I did see that. I did notice that late in the game, and I will correct that in case anybody is yelling at the camera right now, or the video, or the whatever. Okay. Okay, and there it is. That is the center cap, or these are the center caps. Painted with the Molotow pen, of course. And I did not adapt. Let's see if I can get those into the light. I did not adapt the wheel behind it, so you can still see that chrome peeking around the edge. But you know what? I'm good with that. And let me back away here, because what I've done is I've put the whole thing together up to this point anyway. And we've got it sitting there. Engine in, drivetrain, front wheels, and you know, here I am panning the camera around, but I've got something else to show you. I have put the whole thing on one of these microwave trays so that I can easily turn it and show it. Let me just zoom in a little. See that? Nice and smooth, except for my shaky hand. And what that is, that's a microwave tray. You'll see these inside of a lot of microwaves. And I have just set it right on the table. I put that, you can see the ring with the wheels underneath it. It's not in any type of groove. It's just sitting flat on the table, but it doesn't wander. See that? It kind of, whoa, hello. The whole thing is a little bit too tall and hits the, right there. But being a semi, that's the only reason that's happening. Okay, you caught me. I didn't quite glue the engine in, but everything else is glued. Wheels are glued on. They do turn. They don't turn well. These kind of hit the structures for the cylinders there. And I was concentrating on trying to keep that from happening, but it still happened. Either way, it's posable. Look at the drivetrain fell off. Anyway, what I can see here is what I can show here. If you see there, remember I was saying that the hubs were going to be showing in between the wheels, so I needed to paint them blue as well. And that is why. And the backs are not painted, but because those plates from the chassis are covering. So I'm very glad I painted in between the tires. And this is what we've got. Now I have not glued in the engine yet because I haven't gotten to those stages on the instructions, because I don't know how everything's going to line up, and because I've got to put exhaust on there and stuff, and I want to be able to tweak and move things a little bit if need be, or even pull the whole engine out if I have to do something in the frame. So that's why that's not glued in yet. But yeah, this is challenging. Everything is new. Everything is huge. The way the front wheels mounted in there was different from what I remember, and it was hard to get it to all work properly, but of course I got it. Anyway, this is where I am going to leave this one for now. I am going to temporarily park this off in the back in the Corvette's old parking space, and we're going to be switching back to the Digger Cuda. because I want to be able to get some things done on that. That thing's really pretty neat. I've got this pile of parts over here ready to start work on that again. But this is at a good stage now to make a break, and then we'll move on. The cab, you know what? Yeah, I know you guys want to mock up. Let me see what I can do. It doesn't sit on there great because it's of course got no pan or anything like that, but we can do a very rough mock-up. It's gigantic. Semi kits are absolutely immense, and it's going to be a very impressive model. There's a long way to go, lots and lots of parts, easily another 100 parts to go on the whole cab, everything, all the stuff, the gas tanks, the exhaust, ton of stuff to go. So don't expect this one to be over quickly or even this year, but moving right along. Expect more updates from the Digger Cuda. That's coming up soon, and appreciate y'all watching. Everybody go, whenever you see a microwave on the side of the road somebody's throwing away, just stop off, open the door, take the tray, and then run. Because these things are really nice and smooth. These are great for the hobby bench. Anyway, that's just a little tip. I'll see y'all later. Y'all have a good one.